Yes, Massive and Crew, we are back again with another video, and today I'm going to give you some more tips about bass and how to get your bass sounding right. Today's video is about bass lines, how to get your bass line sounding a lot better. This is for a few tips for those of you out there who have been asking me more questions about bass. It's getting very common now about compression, etc, etc. So just going to respond to that. Basically, I've got a bass here that I played in. As you can hear, it's pretty simple, pretty quiet as well. I don't know if you can hear that properly, but basically this is your level here. Now the idea when you're basically mixing bass, you don't want levels that are jumping all over the place too much, because if your level's going to jump, it's going to spike your mix, and then it's going to be hard to get kind of an overall level. So the main thing is obviously to have a good fat sounding bass at the same time. But anyway, you get your bass sound, you want it all kind of level in your mix, right? So you don't want like you mix the rest of your song down here and your bass all the way up here, or you know, or averaging like this, and then all of a sudden you've got a part where it's just too much. So the idea is to just use plugins, compressors, limiters and stuff to keep your bass in check. There's also other bass enhancement programs out there. I'm going to keep it short and sweet because I try not to go over 8 to 10 minutes on the video. But one plugin I'll show you, for example, that I use a lot on bass lines and it will make an immediate difference is the R-Bass, Waves R-Bass. It's very, very good for bass sounds. And another thing as well is always remember to have your bass in mono, because if you've got a bass that's spread out too much, it can cause more problems on your mix. So basically I'm going to get the R-Bass, one of my favourite plugins, and I'm going to switch this on, and immediately you start to hear the difference. You can adjust the intensity and also the frequency, which I believe is default at about 80, right? And the idea is to get your bass level here so that it's not jumping too much. See, at the moment I've got a little bit of a peak, nothing to write home about, so I kind of pull that down. You can turn the intensity up and just get it kind of smooth, so you can see that's not got too much of a jump to it. And this is great for leveling out stuff, obviously to the frequency of your bass sound. Okay, so that's one idea for one piece of bass. The next one that I can see is this Jack Joseph Puig or Pug, not sure how that's pronounced. This has got some really other cool bits and pieces on it. Let's turn off that R-Bass a minute so you can see the difference, and I'm going to switch this one on now. And this is one I've been messing about with. There's lots of parameters on here that you can fart around with. You know, edge, sub. So if your sound doesn't have much sub in it, you can add sub. Presence, which would be a bit more kind of a bit of grunge to it here. I'm going to turn this down because I don't want it to distort on the video. And then obviously the length. So it's kind of like a transient type thing where you can kind of adjust it and tweak around with it. This is another good plugin to mess around with. And again, experiment. It's all down to the individual, yeah. There's no rules. It's your music. You do what you want to do. Another one is good for spiking is the UAD's what do you call it? UAD's limiter. But with the UAD limiter now, you've got to have a UAD card. And the UAD card allows you to use all their cool plugins. They sound really good. They sound like kind of like the original Outboard, you know, sounds and etc. So let me go to here, and I'm going to turn on that so you can see the difference there on the levels. Watch the levels before. So that's with. You can notice that's a really stationary level. It's not sort of jumping up above a certain point. Yeah. And obviously you've got your release that adjusts how quick the level comes back up and stuff. Yeah, you got to tweak around with that. So that's before, and this is after. See, it's a little bit more jumpy. Can you see that? I hope you can see that. Alright, so that's that one. Another cool plugin which I enjoy using as well for bass is the L1 limiter. This L1 limiter, you use it for all sorts of stuff, but I like just like using it on the bass. Doesn't mean that it was made for the bass, but yeah, have a listen. So basically I'll go to my out ceiling as it is default. I'll turn that down a bit, just squish it slightly, and then you can turn your threshold down, and as you see here, look, that's just holding that level Very, very good. Again, release. Experiment at your own peril, yeah? Okay, so that's a good one. And also, this one is a new one that it's not new, it's been around a while. It's called Slam Dog. You can use this for your entire mix. There's lots of different presets. Again, all of the plugins here have presets that are worth messing about with. And this will give you sort of a little bit of characteristic on your bass, on your drums especially. There's all sorts of stuff you can use this for. But as this is about bass, we'll stick to that. And you notice that little round boom? Well, what I did with that, as it's got that kind of effect to it and it's slightly distorted, just to make up another bass sort of sound, I grabbed that and I did my render to sample. So it went like this, went there, render to sample, sample popped up here, and then I ended up with this type of bass. So every time you press it, it gets that kind of boom. And then I ended up playing this sort of bass line. So just from a normal sine wave, oh, sorry mate, with a little pitch bend on the end. So guys, quick update. I actually forgot to route the sound through the right sound card. That's why on the video you can't really hear the bass. So I'm going to run for a quick little demo of how everything sounds in real, if you like. So here's your R bass. And there's lots of stuff you can do with here. Obviously watch your levels. Little demo of that. So peeps, that's it for today. Don't forget, if you like the video, like, share, subscribe, tell your friends, come and join the channel. I'm going to put all these bass lines that I made here and a little pack for you to download in the description. Click the link and please check out my website, sampleloids.co.uk. Peace and love.